Good afternoon, and welcome to A Beer with the Old Growler. I'm the Old Growler, Pete LaFrance, and I'm glad to be with you this afternoon, this morning, tonight, or whatever time it is, wherever you are. It's good to have you with me. Okay, well, here, right now, it is the 11th day of June. It's Thursday, the 11th day of June, 2020. And this is the 59th edition of the A Beer with the Old Growler. And it is also the 86th day that we have been on pause, as they call it here in New York State, which means we're sheltering in place. And here we are in Brooklyn, New York. We are in what is called downtown Brooklyn. We just right across the park there from 222. Come on, Peter. You know where it is, Brooklyn Heights. And so here we are at the end of the Brooklyn Bridge. So we've had some interesting days pass by. And that is why, since we are on pause, and that means that there are no pubs, bars, and restaurants opened up. And I usually have at least one or two recreational beers a day. Being a journalist, that is all work, of course, related. And looking for stories as well. But since I can't do that, at 5 o'clock, I'm going to invite all of you folks to meet me, and we're going to have a beer right now. This is left over from yesterday, so I'm not quite too sure what shape it's going to be in, but I did ratchet down the top really good. And so this is Mermaid beer from the Coney Island Brewing Company. I'm trying to keep all the beers that we taste from New York. Whoa, there we go. That's a nice sound. It really sounded good. Okay, step back from the computer a little bit, because the computer has had its ration of beer last week, and we don't want to do it again this week. Let's see if I can get some head on this? Well, look at that. That's not bad for day-old growler. Yes, sir, that's the growler, and it's from Tributary Brewing Company up in Kittery, Maine. Todd Mott, great brewer up there. All right, it's 5:02. We're late. Cheers. Oh, that was a good one. And it's still good, too. If I remember, it was just a refreshing beer, and we do need refreshing beers. It's so about 80, 82, 83 outside and muggy. And we did have a little bit of rain go by a little bit earlier, but it wasn't. They were telling me we're going to be thunderstorms. Oh, I was so excited, but nothing. But anyways, for those of you who are interested in the history behind the Old Growler, you can find that on the front page of this channel. And the induction there is myself, and I give you all the details as to why the Old Growler has taken over this channel. And for those of you who are new, we have this beer with the Old Growler involves two parts. One is a beer tasting, and since we have been locked out of our pubs, bars, and taverns, most Thursdays, 90 days ago, let's see, we're in day 86, so yeah, come Monday, it'll be 90 days since we've been locked down. So 90 days, 3 months ago, Thursdays, we would hang out at the Henry Street Ale House over in Brooklyn Heights. Myself and Jim Bennis, a buddy of mine, and bartender and manager Jerry Scott, and usually 2 or 3 other people at least. And if you want to see how those tastings went, take a look at the playlist that we have, Tastings at the Henry Street Ale House. Well, this is the system of our tastings. What we did is it's called meeting expectations. We don't rate beers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. No, they either meet expectations or they don't meet expectations. How do we know? Well, we take a look at the can or the bottle, and we take a look and we read off. This one was from the other day. Founders, so we know what the brewery is. It's an unraveled IPA. Unraveled, the names are kind of cute, so if it's a happy little thing, you figure that's the attitude that they've got as far as brewing. We know it's an IPA, and you take a look at the diagram on there, the illustration, and yes, that is definitely a hop plant, and it's unraveling, that's for sure. It says Juicy India Pale Ale. Okay, an India Pale Ale, as in IPA, started out in Great Britain during the start of the machine age, and it was popular in India because they would ship kegs of their beer, which was heavily hopped and rather high in alcohol content. We're talking maybe 6 or 7, 8% alcohol, and they would ship it out to India and to the far reaches of the British Empire, and they would for their soldiers, sailors, and air. Well, didn't have airmen back there. Soldiers and sailors and Marines, of course. And once they got the beer there, well, everybody says, well, oh, geez, it was in hot weather and everything. It must have, been high alcohol content. That must have been terrible. They watered it down. Believe me. It's a long story about it, and someday I'll tell it to you. And it says, okay, Founders Brewing Company, and it says, drink responsibly, brewed and packaged by Founders Brewing Company in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And it's 6.6% alcohol by volume, 50 IBUs, international bittering units. So we know that it is 6.6% alcohol. That's relatively high. It's not outstanding. I mean, it's not way up there, but it's enough to, it's up there. And 50 IBUs, international bittering units, go from 0, I think, to 100. And the rated Budweiser, I think, is a 20. Is it 20? Would it be 20? No. It's less than that. Maybe it's about 20. So that's about as bitter as that is. So this is about twice as bitter as Budweiser. So we poured it out. Oh, it says, brewed for us, U.S. And I'm wondering whether that's us as in we or United States on there. But that's it. Then we always check down at the bottom to see when it was canned, and it says canned on April 6th of this year. 20? Yeah, April 6th, 20. So we figured out that this would be a relatively hoppy beer, and juicy means that was supposed to be cloudy. Well, it turned out that it wasn't. I'll put a note in the information box below, a link back to the tasting of that particular beer. But that's pretty much how we did it. And Jerry would pop it open, we'd pass it around, and we would decide, does it meet expectations? Yes. Does it not meet expectations? No. So that was pretty much how the tasting goes. And if you hang around after the tasting, I will regale you with some more stories. As I said, I am a journalist. I've been covering the malt beverage industry for 35 so years, if not more. And I have also had a couple of books published. The first one was Beer Basics right here. And the next one was Cooking and Eating with Beer. You can find them both on Amazon. I'm sure they've been out of print for a while, but I'll be coming out with a new one. In fact, that's the name of it is My Life as a Professional Barfly. And that will probably be coming out in about a year, so you can start looking forward to that one. Okay, let's see here. The featured tasting of the day. That's right, that's what we're at. And what do we have for the feature tasting of the day? Does it meet expectations? Meeting expectations. Okay, here we go. Meeting expectations or not meeting expectations. Today it is Brooklyn Bel Air Sour. If you can see that. It's tough to read, this one. Let's see if it's in focus. Oh, I don't know. All right. Oh, to me, this reeks of Miami Beach and Miami and Florida and good things like that. Why? The colors, the pastel colors. So that's telling me something. At least I'm reacting to it that way. Okay. It says Party Tarty, Brooklyn Bel Air Sour, 12 fluid ounces. It is an independent craft beer. It's got the symbol of the independent craft beer right there on the can. It says brewed by the Brooklyn Brewery in San Lorenzo, California. Well, I knew Brooklyn had breweries all over the world, but I didn't know they had one in California. That's new to me. 5.8% alcohol by volume. Oh, I get it. That's the California look again. Oh, I forgot about that. Okay. Now, Surgeon General's warning, if I'm pregnant, don't drink. 5%, 5.8 alcohol by volume. It says an ale, FL. Don't know what that means. Ball is the can company. And that's about it. Oh, well, let's see. On the bottom, it says BB 520. So I'm imagining as Best Buy May 20th or May of this month or this year. June. Huh. Well, I guess so. All right. Well, we're gonna crack it. Well, what am I expecting? I'm expecting a sour beer. I'm expecting a tart beer. I have no idea what what the California part is, and alcohol content 5.8%. That's okay. Well, I'm not expecting. Well, Brooklyn Brewery. Okay, I've known Garrett Oliver, the brewmaster there, so I'm a little prejudiced on that. So I do know him. I've liked his beers. He can brew some really good stuff. He can copy any beer in the world. So if this is something new and different, fine. If it's well, we'll find out. Okay. I'm giving him a little benefit of the doubt. I'm looking forward to something hazy, crazy, and sour. Here we go. Well, it's a smidge hazy, a little juicy looking, a little juicy. The head is it's kind of tiny. It's not throwing up too much foam on that, so I'm wondering about how much malt it has in there because you need the malt to be able to make the dextrins that form the kind of coverings, I guess, that the carbon dioxide the bubbles need to create. So, well, it looks like a sour fuzzy beer. It's got a weird aroma. Now I can't pick it up. The first time, as soon as the first time your senses get something, they go, "Ooh, what was that?" And then the second time, they go, Well, it's an unfamiliar aroma. Put it that way. First swig, sip, swig. Uh, well, yes, it's pucker power. I'm getting a lot of lemon, a lot of citric lemon, and not too much. It is, it is a sour beer. There is a little bad thing that goes into fermentation. It's called Brettanomyces. It's a it's not a yeast, and it's a bacteria that is common in farmhouse beers in France, and it does have a great deal of pucker power. And this it has a trademark of that flavor. Well, I'm not getting much malt. Any kind of bitterness hop unit. I can't identify any hop in this at all. Usually, if it's a lemony, it's a citra. If it's grapefruity, it's a cascade. This has neither. It's just kind of, and it finishes dry, but with a little sour to it. It's just it doesn't deliver the punch I thought it was going to have. So does Brooklyn Bel Air Sour. Meet expectations? I'm afraid not. Not this time, Brooklyn. Whoop. Better luck next time. But here's the Old Growler, hoping that all of your beers meet expectations. That's good. All right. Well, I'm going to have a little teaser for you. Tomorrow being Friday and being the 60th edition of the Old Growler, a friend of mine, Jamie Gerardo, has sent me three of these. One is a 99 vintage, the other is a 98, and the other is a 97. And these come from Fuller's. It's a vintage ale, bottle conditioned. This was in 1999, and it is brewed by the head brewer, the Institute of Brewing. This is quite a. It says best before the end of 2002. So we've got 2 more years to go. So it should be quite tasty. It's bottle conditioned, and it has a number on it, a 26825, 8%, 8.5% volume by volume of alcohol. So it's going to be a warm little beer. Little beer. This little baby looks big. So that's going to be the treat for tomorrow. I deserve a treat today. Well, not today, but tomorrow. To celebrate the 60th Old Growler. So that's what we have to look forward to tomorrow. Oh, look what I have here. For those of you who are still with me, I have a cheat sheet on the Bel Air. So let's see what the rest of the crowd says. Okay, the Brooklyn Brewery itself tells me that the Brooklyn Bel Air Sour is a sour ale. Now, hold on, George. It says that there are 2 alcohol by volumes out there, 4.5 and 5.8. And we got the 5.8. Yes. Availability year-round. Format, 12-ounce cans, bottles, and draft. It says, according to them, it says hops dripping with bright tropical fruit. That doesn't tell me anything about the hops, so. Okay, their blurb. Brooklyn Bel Air Sour is full of surprises. Our sour ale starts up with bright notes of tropical fruit, yet finishes crisp and gently tart. It's a trip that's laid back, breezy, and completely refreshing. Okay, that's what they tell me. Now, the folks at Beer Advocate, beeradvocate.com, they tell us that there's 2 versions of the beverage alcohol, of the ABV. Okay, and they also have, it looks like a press release from the brewery, led by our James Beard Award-winning Brewmaster Garrett Oliver. Our brewers put their collective minds together to conjure up one tasty magic trick. A thrilling jolt of tartness up front opens into a riot of tropical fruit, courtesy of our lacto, our ale yeast, and a generous helping of Amarillo dry hopping. Soft barley and wheat malts keep things dry and refreshing, and the whole thing comes together to close with a fine dry finish. Brooklyn Bel Air, cool, breezy, and undeniably compelling. Boy, now that's a bit of press writing, boy. I tell you, Bob. Doesn't tell me anything about it except for the lacto. Okay, that lactobacillus. There we go. It's a wild little mean little. Well, it's not a mean little thing, but it's a wild bacteria that is used in fermentation. Okay, let's see. Oh, they also have a little bit more information, and this is not from the brewery itself. This is from the kids at Beer Advocate. The malts are American 2-row. Okay, pale wheat malt. So there's not too much dextrin in there. Additions: lactobacillus, hops, Challenger, Pearl, Mosaic, and Amarillo. I'm not familiar with Challenger or Amarillo, but Mosaic and Pearl I am. I didn't pick them up at all. Yeast, our house ale yeast, original gravity 13 Plato. For those of you who are brewers, that means something, and to the rest of us, it means nothing. Okay, And we do have a little bit of a review. Flavor of lemon soap and lemon candy, some heavy, pithy grapefruit as well. Sour element, not intense. A bit puckering, but not over the top. About like a Berliner Weiss. Overall, for sure, won't be returning to this one, but there's nothing blatantly wrong with it, just majorly uninteresting. So that was what the rest of the world thinks of it. All right. Well, thanks a lot for hanging out, and I do appreciate it. I see I've got at least a thumbs up there. Oh, that's a good one. All right. Well, if you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share, and leave a comment down below. I'd really appreciate that because I'd like to know exactly how I'm coming through. Okay, here we go. The next part, and this is going to be a short one today. My life as a professional barfly. As I say, I've written 2 books for those of you who have waited this long. Once again, here they are, Beer Basics and Cooking and Eating with Beer. Both of them still, I think, available on Amazon. And if not, drop a line down in the box down there and a comment, and maybe we'll get in touch. Okay, my life as a professional barfly. Let me describe that. A professional barfly, as far as I'm concerned, is someone who is a journalist, first of all, and is covering the industry, the beer industry, the whiskey industry, any one of the beverage alcohols, and is very familiar and has learned a great deal about the operations of bars, pubs, taverns, restaurants, what goes on in the back of the house, what goes on in the front of the house, how things are margined, the different ways of serving, the techniques that servers use, how to arrange menus. All of this is integral to understanding, I believe, into being a professional barfly. Someone who knows what is going on there, not just who sits there and drinks. That's a semi-professional barfly, or a minor league barfly, I would say. There's some major league barflies, but they're not professional barflies. Major league barflies, we've all seen a few of those, but a professional barfly is different. They know how many drinks there are in a bottle of liquor. How many glasses are there in a bottle of wine? How many pints are there that you can get out of a keg? How many atmospheres a keg is? When you serve it, what type of gas goes into a tap system, and what is the best way to take care of a can or bottle of beer? Also, you get to know what goes on in a kitchen as to how many steps there are, how many stations there are in each kitchen, what each station does, what a mise en place is, what a prep is, all of this. If you don't know that, you're not a professional barfly. Well, I consider myself a professional barfly, and cheers to the rest of you. So now that you know what I am and how I define it, how am I adapting to sheltering in place? How does a professional barfly adapt to it? Well, this is what we're doing. We're using whatever medium we can to at least communicate. And communicating is incredibly important, I think, and I would really appreciate it that if you make comments, because that is the reason I'm here. The comments that I've been getting are what we've been able to taste. Some of the beers, people have asked a certain beer to be tasted. I'll go find it. If I have to get in touch with the brewery, I'll have them send me one. So if you have any beers in mind, let the professional barfly try it out. If you have any questions about it, just leave it in the comment box. So that's how am I adapting? Well, I'm sheltering in place and I'm still here, and I will still wear a mask outside. I will listen to the authorities at the CDC, but more important, Dr. Fauci he's a Brooklyn boy. So I listen to him. Next, what's a short-term result of the events of the past 3 months, as far as bars, pubs, taverns, etc., etc.? The short-term result is that there's not going to be a great rush back to go into pubs, bars, taverns, and restaurants. There's not going to be a real rush to get back. I don't think so. In urban areas, in suburban and rural areas, yes, I can understand that. And it is simply the ability to get to places and to feel safe in places. That's going to be interesting, is to see how safe people feel. And that's a real challenge for the restaurants opening up outside. Thank goodness it is summertime, and for wherever it can be done, if people can have their parking lots, they can put tables out in the parking lots. If it's a suburban area, here in Brooklyn, it's a little tough because we don't have parking lots, not outside of restaurants, but we do have sidewalks, and that's going to be a challenge as to how much of the sidewalk can be used. Can parking in front of the restaurant, pub or bar, the parking area, do you use that for tables or not? I mean, this is going to be a really interesting thing to see over the next 2 weeks. That's pretty much what they're saying, is that every 2 weeks they're going to reevaluate. So the initial response is a short term over the next 2 months, which hopefully we go into phase 2. It's not going to be a real rush back. I don't see a real turning on of the spigot and having a lot of water come out. It's going to be slow. Okay. What will the bar culture look like in the future, next year? Okay. It'll be, oh boy. Again, there's a difference between rural and suburban and urban. But altogether, I really believe that that bars will become more important and more valued than they have been. I think that they'll be considered in the next epidemic, I certainly hope, is somehow or other essential services that should open first. But again, we have the problem with the disease and the COVID and how it's handled. That's going to be a tough call. But by next year, first of all, next year, I think there'll probably be some form of inoculation. Notice I didn't say, I said inoculation, one way or another. There'll be some form of prophylactic. I'll use that word. And it will make it easier. And I don't think it will not involve wearing masks and carrying food around with tongs and sanitizing places as soon as somebody gets up. No. But I think most important, that eating out in restaurants will become a special thing, not a sport. So I think that in next year, that's going to be pretty much it. Okay. How will it affect the beer market in the short term? Okay, I'm assuming that is the beer market as in consumers. I haven't had a chance to see the statistics on off-premise sales and on-premise sales. I do know that deliveries in urban areas, beer deliveries, and particularly the smaller breweries, have been very successful in setting up delivery systems and door-to-door, and also pickups at the curb pickup. That is, as I say, they have made a remarkable, here in Brooklyn at least, it has been remarkable. And I've seen press statements from other cities that the smaller breweries are able to turn on a dime. And it has been a challenge, but they are still producing beer and still selling it. It wasn't like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, when major breweries and distributors were pouring beer out down into sewers. That has changed. I think that the small and mid-range breweries will handle this better, because they can go to cans, crowlers that they have, or they can go to filling growlers, and these are returnable. So you have the ability to be green in many ways, and so there's going to be the short term for the small breweries, the regional breweries, are I think is still good. The tap rooms have been turned off. I understand, and that's difficult. But there has been an adaptation to it. That I think is important. So it's going to be that's the short term. How will it affect the beer market in the long term? Again, on premise, off premise, those are two different markets to look at. But altogether, as far as sales go, the major breweries are going to be able to discount their beers, and they'll naturally survive. They have all kinds of legal and tax reasons, just business plans. I mean, they've had plans in the cellar waiting for something like this. So, and if they didn't, they deserve to fail. Especially the big ones. The smaller ones, particularly people that have mortgaged themselves that mortgaged themselves into it a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and just started out. That's gonna they're gonna it's gonna be that's a really sad situation. Um, but I'd like to just add a little something before, and we're getting a little bit late here, and I've only got a few people, but I'd like to. There was a study done in the 1950s about cities, and they instead of using people and demographics, and this was before computers, um, to do all kinds of search information. They studied rats, and they found out that certain community, if you had a large, if you allowed certain rats to procreate in a small space, and they continued and they continued and they continued, and of course it got bigger. The space didn't get any bigger, but the rats did. The more of them, certain rats turned into preeners and not breeders. Certain rats turned into this, and certain rats turned into that, and there was some cannibalism, ratism, or whatever you would call it. Yeah. But those are animals. Those they do not have cognitive abilities. We have cognitive abilities, and I have a great faith in them. So, as far as the questions of how the restaurant and the beers, the brewing industry, and the bar culture, there's a resiliency that's built into all of us. There's a fight in all of us to succeed, and I think that's going to happen. So, what have I learned as a journalist about this event? Well, I've learned that you have to wait until it's over, and it's usually never over. There's always another day. So you have to take your bearings where you can, and that's I think important as far as that goes. So I thank you all for showing up today. Everyone who has showed up, I do thank you very much. Please subscribe, thumbs up, and share, and leave some comments down there. I really do appreciate that. And for those of you who have hung out all the way to the end, look forward to this tasting tomorrow. I'm going to have a lot of fun. To heck with it. It's time to do a little celebration. And Jaime Gerardo, when he sent that to me, he said it should be tasted with people. Well, you guys are people, and so I'm going to taste it with you guys. Oh, hey, Monica, good to see you. I hope you've enjoyed the afternoon, gotten out there doing maybe a little running or something. Oh, I still got a little bit more left here. So, and it looks like it's 5:32. I've only been on for 34 minutes. I've been trying to cut it down a little bit, mainly because I run out of beer, but not today. Hey, Mira, good to see you. And thanks for the thumbs up. I do appreciate that. Makes me look good for YouTube and all those search engines that come out looking for me. SEO, search engine optimization. Love that kind of good stuff. That's technical talk. So that's what that is. Oh, boy. Hey. Oh, I cracked that down, didn't I? Right. Let's see if I can get a little more out of this growler. Tomorrow's Friday. I'm going to have to go get a fresh one. Well, I mean, same growler, but fresh beer. Look at that. Still get ahead. But you can always get ahead with a good education. Well, I kind of read a few books. Oh, an old advertisement, Abe Lincoln and good stuff like that. All right. Well, it has gotten to the end of the line here. I do thank everybody for showing up. And for those of you who are still with me, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, evening, night, morning, wherever you happen to be. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Don't forget, all you have to do is click on that alert bell down there, and you can always tell when the Old Growler has published something new. Or you don't publish on, you don't publish here, you go hot, supposedly. So click on that bell down there, and you won't miss a single one of these tastings. Good to see you all, and cheers.